Hello and welcome back. So today we're going to make or rather I'm going to show you how I make nature scenery mountain paper pop-up displays. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if you were to go to my Instagram page, you'll see that I created a tremendous amount of backdrops that are like this, and I use them for my 1/64 scale diecast photography. These are made out of paper, and I'm going to show you exactly how I make them. So I'm going to open up my favorite editor, which is Photoshop. And my base that I start working on with these is 7 inches wide, 7 inches tall, 7 by 7. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set my guide here at the 3 inch mark. So that's how tall I want my backdrop to be. And I want the road area or parking area to be 4 inches deep. And so let's get started. So I have created this massive pack, and I'm going to show you guys how to get that as well. Let me bring this over here. So these are all mountain cutouts. And in this pack is, like I said, about 51. And that translates to hundreds of possibilities. And so what we'll do here is we're going to choose number Mountain Cut 9. It's a dark canyon scenery, and it'll turn out pretty well. So we'll slide that over here. And at the 3 inch mark, it's a little too high for my liking because I want more sky. So I'm going to bring it down just a little bit. These are really super high resolution cutouts. Some of these are in the area of about 8K. Most are 4K, but they go up to about 8K. Super high definition. And so I'm going to just talk briefly a minute about sky replacement. As you see, these are all cutouts, and they're all PNG transparent backgrounds. Okay. I do it this way so I have full control over how I want my sky and my mountains and whatever background I'm using. I want full control over it. So that's why I choose to do it myself. There's so Adobe Photoshop has built-in sky replacement software inside Photoshop. And while that's good and a lot of people use it, I don't have full control over it. So I don't really care for the way that it uh, like color casting and blending and stuff. I just don't really like it. Other software has it too. Luminar Neo has sky replacement. I believe On One has it, and Affinity Photo may actually have it now. I'm not sure. Um, but this is how I do it, and that's what the video is about, right? Showing you how I do it. So here's a cutout of this mountain range here. So I have to envision it, right? So what do you want from this? You know, you got to ask yourself, do you want blue skies? Do you want stormy, maybe sunsets? And in this pack here, there's about 250 different skies to choose from. I'm thinking today, I'm not really sure, man. Maybe a lighter type sunset. Let me kind of scroll through the pack here and kind of check out what I want. Gee, I'm not really too sure, but as you can see, there's a lot to choose from. We'll go back up top here. Um, so this is the Sky Pack 1. I'm going to open up Sky Pack 2 and take a look at what we have in here. Well, that's right off the bat. That looks pretty good. So what you would do now is you would choose what sky that you want to use and you just drop it into your editor. Now it's going to put the layer on top. So that's pretty easy to change. We just move it down. Well, that looks good right off the bat, doesn't it? See how easy that was? Okay, so now we have to decide what kind of road do we want. If we're going to be happy with the sky, we're going to be happy with the mountains, what can we do? Um, maybe we can blend another mountain, another dark set of mountains in the background to give it a different look. Well, we sure have a lot to choose from. Let's go ahead and see what number 24 looks like in the editor here. We drop it in and let's move it behind that one. And now we have that. Or we changed everything, didn't we? And that does look pretty good. But we select this layer and we can go to adjustments and let's see if we can just darken it up with brightness and contrast. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad, does it? Maybe it doesn't look quite that good right here. Maybe we can run with this. Maybe. But you know what we can do? Let's not do any of it. Let's just go with the original image. But know that you can choose all of these mountains together. You can add 2, 3, 4, 5, doesn't matter. You can make whatever combination you want. As long as it looks good to you, that's all that matters, right? So this is where we're going to go with this. Okay. So I'm looking at this now and I'm trying to decide which of the three main roads that I want to use for this. Do I want to use this light? Do I want to use this one? You could choose from these three. Um, I'm going to choose uh, this one here, number C. I'm going to throw it in there and it goes on the top here and kind of move it down. Let's move it, let's line it up and we'll go ahead and move it just above the background. And then from here, we can kind of adjust it down and give us more of a walking area here. But we got to make sure that we have at least an inch, inch and a half for the vehicle travel. That way, when the vehicle sits in there and you do your photographing, it looks proportionate. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just not kind of feeling that one. That ain't too bad, I guess. Okay, so we take a look at this and we say, okay, our road's going to be like that, but man, it looks too sharp and it's not at the 3-inch mark neither. So we want to bend this at the 3-inch mark. What I'm talking about is our scoring. So let's move it up to the top. Let's move it up to our 3-inch mark. Maybe go a little, maybe we don't need that much walkway because that is, well, ain't too bad, right? Let's see what we got here. We can put this down here for measurement and that gives us a little bit over a 1/2 inch. Well, that's going to be just fine. And we take in measure here that we do have, a good 1.5 inches. So that's going to be a good placement for this road. But the thing about this is, let's go ahead and scroll in, zoom in. That sharp mark right here in this canyon area, man, that's just not going to look right. So let's select this canyon and let's move it up. And if we move it up, we can start to see that we get more detail and it's going to look better to photograph. And we still have room for our sky here. We want the sky, at least I want the sky, right? Because it's my photo, my design. I want some more sky in here. I think that's going to be pretty good. Oh, we'll do a photo shoot at the end too. I'll snap some photos and show everybody what this looked like. Okay, so we have an idea now of what that's going to look like, but we're still not too happy with this. We want something that's going to separate the road from this canyon. So what we can do is we can look at what kind of grass that we have. We have a pack is full of like dry grass and bushes, all super high definition PNG cutouts, and it's all part of the pack. Let's see here. Let's slide in number 59. That gives us some grass here. We'll put it at the 3-inch mark. And then we'll kind of slide it behind everything. This square that I'm using gives me an idea where it's at. Let's put it there. So when you score and bend this, you're going to see the grass has separated the canyon. The grass is a little bit tall. So if we look at that being 3/4 of an inch, and we know that in 1/64 scale, that the little figurines we get, that 6-foot man is a 1-inch figure in 1/64 scale. Now, here's a fun fact about the 1/64 scale. It's a scale that nobody can agree on. It was a very weird scale to begin with when they started it, and no people, no group of people, no two people can agree on this scale and what is what. But from what we have seen throughout the years with the photography, the way the little figurines work, 1 inch is a 6-foot man. That's it. That's how it works for me. That's probably how it works for a lot of people. And that's what we scale everything to. So we know that this is about almost an inch, so that grass would be right at eye level, and that's just too much. That's just too high. So let's shrink it down a bit. Kind of squeeze it there, and we bring it back up to about right there. And now we're at, let's go ahead and zoom in. So we know that we're about the 1/4 inch mark, and that's going to be pretty good. That's about as best it's going to get. Okay, so we still look at this and we're like, okay, so we bend it here and there's going to be a little bit of grass here. Is there anything else we can do to make this more for the authenticity? And there is. You can zoom in to this road here, and you could choose the road, the layer, right? This is the layer. And then we can go to our eraser tool. It's rasterizing is what it's doing here. And we can adjust the opacity to this eraser tool to about 25%. And then we can do a scale down the hardness and definitely scale down the size to about right there. And then what we can do is we can kind of fade off this hard line. And that's going to blend the grass into the road a little bit. And it's going to give us some real nice authenticity. And we want to do this right across the cut line here. That's what I call the score line. And it is a little bit below. So let's go ahead and move that up just a little bit. That's going to be our line that we use to score on. And I have a video on how to process these once you get them done. I can show you how to print them, cut them, fold them, score them, just like I do. And I'll put a link to that video in the description as well. So let's go back to our road layer, and we can use the eraser tool, and we can kind of blend this in right across the line here. And we can get kind of creative with it too. Like, you know, you can go down a little bit farther for more authenticity. We just don't want that line to be too overly sharp and dominant. Um, this particular road, the reason I chose it is because it had some grass in it already, and you can do that too. You can add little bit of grass along the line here with some of the grass that in the pack. We can even add trees to this. I have tree packs too. Here, let me show you. So if we go to autumn, we'll just choose autumn trees. In this pack, tons of trees. Blend them right into the sceneries. We go ahead and zoom back out. So we did some work to it, and it's going to be pretty good. We got a nice little walk area here. We got some grass to separate the canyon to the road right on the fold line. That's going to look good. And what we want to do from here is, if we're pretty happy with that, we can just start a save. We want to save it to a PSD, and we're going to put it on our desktop. And we're going to just name it something like maybe 269. We'll save it. So now we have the PSD saved right here. And we can get out of here and we can come back to our work. So let's get that fold line out of the way. That's what we have. Well, that's pretty good work. So let's take another look at it and see if there's anything else that we want to do to it. Now the sky, it's got a nice, there's a name for that. I call it soft. Uh, but there is a technical photography name for that. I just, for whatever reason, I just can't think of it right now. So this is what I would consider to be just about done. So what I can do from here, and as I do with all of them, is I'm going to export this. And I'm going to export it as a JPEG for two reasons. Size being one. Second is I can adjust colors better when it's JPEG than I can PNG. Going to save it to our desktop. So from here, what I want to do is what I do is I'm going to go ahead and go to my file, and I'm going to just open. I'm going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to find that backdrop 269, and I'm going to open it. Okay, now here's my saved image. This is what I'm going to make my backdrop out of. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, is there anything I want to do to this in Camera Raw? So you can actually take this and open it up in Lightroom or any editor that you want. Camera Raw is part of Photoshop, and it's just convenient. So I'm going to go to my filter and I'm going to open up in Camera Raw. I'm going to take a processing look at it. Do I want to bring up the exposure a little bit? Add a little contrast. Maybe I bring down the highlights, open the shadows, and maybe crush the blacks. But as good as I can make it look here, I have to understand that I am going to photograph this. I'm going to have a vehicle set on here. I'm going to photograph it. So I got to limit the amount of editing that I do here, because I'm going to do a lot of editing when I take the photo. So you don't want to over edit um, your digital file here. It'll just be so much harder. You want to keep it as plain and raw as you could possibly get. So I did darken it up, but I did drop the blacks down. I did crush them down to 14, drop the highlights a little bit. And I'm going to go to my HSL, my color, and I got to look at my oversaturated anywhere. how does my printer react to my printouts? So I know that my printer overproduces blue. There's not any blue in here, but there is some purple. And purple blue, I believe that it overprocesses it. So under my saturation, because I know my printer, I'm going to drop the purples down quite a bit and the magenta. And while I didn't change a whole lot here, I did change it quite a bit in my printer. The blues, there are almost none. So I'm going to drop them all the way out. Aquas, yeah, I'm dropping them out too. The greens, there isn't any. So let's drop them out. Now we have three primary colors, red, orange, and yellow. That's what controls everything here. I don't really have too much of an oversaturation problem in my printer with orange, but it does probably need to come down just a little bit. Maybe the reds need to come down just a little bit too. And that's as far as I'm going to take this down. I'm going to hit OK. And it didn't change a lot, but it may have changed enough because I know my printer, right? So I'm going to export this image one more time. We're going to export it as a JPEG. And I'm going to call it post or even graded. Let's call it graded. And then we're done. This is the image that we're going to print. So that's how I do this. From here, I would just, my video is going to show you the video on how to process, print, and download these. It's going to show you, I just dropped mine into, I dropped the graded version into a 8.5 by 11, and I just print that out, Control P, and I just choose it, and I always print in Photoshop, and I let my printer manage my colors because that's what really works best for my setup. I'll just print my selected area, and then that's it. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to process this, I'm going to score it, bend it, and I'm going to make a photograph. And it's going to be a backdrop display, and I may put a Land Rover or whatever I need on there, but it's pretty cool. And what you end up with, look at all the files we had open, all the folders. What you end up with is this wonderful photograph like this. Um, here's another one that recently done. And this is blended with two different um, mountain sceneries and with a stormy type sky. And this is the stuff that you're going to be able to create now. Okay. So this pack, and I'll show you here. This is where you get it. You're going to get it from my Gumroad account, and it's got 51 mountains, 272 skies, 160 trees, 145 grass cutouts, all in high resolution, and it's got a few roads. There's over 500 assets, and it's only $2. Um, it's only $2 because this, and it has to be something. I have to be able to deliver this to you, even though it's digital. There's still some time and processes involved in this, but it's only $2. Um, gives you an idea of what it looks like, and it's really easy. You just, if you want this, you go ahead and check out, and there's going to be a it's going to direct you to your downloads, and there is literally 10 zip files with this, and you'll have to download them individually and unzip them, and then you're going to have all the packs, and you're going to have all the assets that you need to create this. Cool looking backdrops. And the video took us 24 minutes to make, and we're at 24 minutes right now. Um, but when you're designing these and you get really good at it, you're looking at making you a personal backdrop in 15 minutes, with these assets that I have. And we didn't even talk about putting trees in this thing. We could put some autumn trees, and everything in these. And you're going to be able to do that now. So I'm going to finish up here. At the end of this video, I will show you, I will add the photograph that I made from this. And I have links to all of the, most of the equipment that I use in my little humble studio in the description. Thank you for watching, and you folks have a wonderful, wonderful day.